Hello, all you degenerate old schoolers, and welcome back to another episode of The Orb. Tonight we have the Bootleggers Ball Finals. Alpha to Alliances, 4-strip format. It's all come down to this. This is round 5 of the tournament. I showed up and took a pretty good beating, so I'm nowhere near these tables. I'm just hitting record and running all the way to the other end of the play area to get my last match in, but this should be a banger. I have not watched this, cannot wait to see. As always, a great time was had. If you get a chance to make it to the Nashville area, typically about the first week in December, come on out next year and throw down some old school Alpha to Alliances magic. So tonight on this episode we have Cayce facing Will. Let's take a good look at Cayce's deck. And here's a first look at Cayce's deck. This deck lives and dies by that card on the top left, Necro from Ice Age. Pay 1 life, set cards aside for each life you paid, and then pick them up at the end of your turn. By the way, you cannot discard, you exile cards out of your hand. So you can't dump your hand into your graveyard and then, I don't know, play something out like All Hallows Eve or an Animate Dead. You gotta work a little harder for it. Right below that, Cayce has 4 Dark Rituals. Those Dark Rits can power out those Necropotences. And look at this mana base. That's the upside to AAA. In his mana base, we know he needs black. He also needs blue. Every land he has there, -2 can produce black mana. Outside of the Loa and the Strip Mine, the 1 Strip Mine he has in his deck, every other land, the Underground Rivers, the Underground Seas, the Savannas, the Scrublands, not Savannas, but Scrublands, and 1 Swamp and 2 City Brass all produce black mana, turning his deck online immediately. Doesn't even bother to carry all the Mox in. That's for all the Mox monkeys out there. We can see he has Mana Vault, Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, Brain Geyser. You know, he's got a bunch of the blue restricted cards. Also 4 Force of Wills. Those are very important. 4 Portent. He can pitch those to his Force of Wills, or he can dig deeper through his library to pick up those Necropotents. Limduel's Vault, same deal. That does a hell of a job searching. And his win condition is right up the middle of this. He's got 2 Mirror Universe, so if he draws his own life down with Necropotents, no big deal. He's got Ivory Tower to keep him alive throughout the game. If he draws it down, no big deal. He'll swap lives and then just do a drain life to finish his opponent off. The Contagions take care of creatures in the way that are trying to kill him, so I like this deck. Very cool. Does have, you know, the standard Chaos Orb also in there. Sideboard has some extra cool cards in it too. 1 Memory Lapse and an Arcane Denial for extra counter spells. A Balance, 3 Disenchant, 2 more Strip Mines, 2 Abyss, 2 Hydro Blasts, and 3 Serrated Arrows to take care of those weenie decks, I suppose. So, very good looking deck. I have a hard time not playing creatures out. My job in this game is to slam down a creature, ideally a bunch of them, and swing in. This takes some thought process to operate, so I do like this deck. Obviously, it's done very well. I believe Cayce's 4-0 heading into this match. Now, let's go take a look at what he's up against. And here's a look at his opponent's deck. Will and I played together in Boston at LobsterCon. And here we are just a few short months later, jamming it out at another tournament. Love to see some familiar faces around, as always. Will's deck is a Eureka deck. I love Eureka. Truth be told, I just started selling off a few cards to pick up Eurekas. Man, this card is fun and cool. 2 colorless, 2 green. Players start slamming shit down on the tables. That's going to stay there forever. Casting cost, makes no difference. They just come out with Eureka. He's also got Amp with the Tender Wall. 1 green, you get an 0/3 wall, which is great. Gotta love walls, especially in tournaments. And then you can sacrifice that wall at any time to get 2 red to your mana pool. Eureka's 4, you pay 1 green turn 1, slam another green down turn 2, pop this thing to the graveyard, and boom, Eureka's out turn 2. He's got a few other ways to ramp in there, like the Havenwood Battlegrounds. He can sack those for 2 green at any time. Of course, he does have his on-colored Moxen, a myriad of dual lands, Soul Ring, Mana Vault, Mana Crypt, Black Lotus, all the winners. And then look at that top line of cards. We can see Triskelion. Triskellion's obviously fantastic. And then Clones right behind it. And on the other side of the Trike is Modis. And God love Modis and Trikes. And then, oh man, Deep Spawn. What a pain in the ass to deal with. And then on top of all those awesome, badass old school creatures, he's got the Polar Kraken out of Ice Age. For a mere 11 mana, you get 11/11 Trampler with a cumulative upkeep of sacrifices land and comes into play tapped. Now, the upside to this thing is he only needs to really stay in play for a turn or two, and the job is going to be done. So, Polar Kraken, like a rock star, is in this deck. He also has a bunch of the restricted cards, so again, very well refined deck. We can see in his sideboard, he's got a couple Sylvan Libraries, an Ifbith in case he needs to mow down the flying creatures, 2 Drop of Honey. I love the Drop of Honey. Such an awesome card. And it's not quite up in the top tier of things, right? Just doesn't see a whole lot of play, but it is a super cool card. Concordant Crossroads. That's to make his creatures jamming even faster. After that, he has 1 in the Eye of Chaos, which I think is a top tier killer sideboard card in this format. A lot of people are running Force of Will. I hear it's kind of a good card. I had a few in my deck, and my opponent played those against me. Now your instants or interrupts not played during your turn cost an extra X to fire off. So even if you're pitching a card, paying 1 life, and slamming down a Force of Will, you still are due for 5 more colorless mana just to let that counter spell go on. A couple energy fluxes, 4 control magics, 1 Brain Geyser, and 1 Mirror Universe. I did hear Will talking a little bit about his deck, and if you look, all his creatures are blue, minus the Trikes, and he said that's just so he could keep his Force of Will online at all times. Makes great sense, so well done on the deck build. Another deck I absolutely love here. So, I've said enough shit, let's get on to the games. And here we go with game number 1. Will won the Who Could Find the Coolest Looking Cheeto contest, so he is on the play. He did have to throw 1 card back, but bad news for Cayce. He took a triple mulligan, had to put 3 cards back. Will fires down a City of Brass at a pass. Cayce's coming in hard, drops down a Dark Ritual, followed by a Necropotence, so turn 1 Necro. Only has 2 cards in hand, but look at this. He's going to pay 5 life, restock his hand. That's a pretty good comeback. So back up to 7 cards. He is on 15, takes the first damage of the game. Self-inflicted, but that's a pretty powerful run there. Will drops down his second land. It's a City of Brass. They seem to always clump up together for me. Glad to see I'm not alone there. If you find 1 city, there's normally 1 or 2 more behind it. Yeah, tapping 2 here, going to drop himself to 18. Again, all damage this game's been self-inflicted, and there's some piece of power at Time Walk. Will moving on to his Time Walk turn. Finds a Bayou. And just to pass back to his opponent. So the downside to Necropotence is you do lose your draw step. You skip your draw step. Cayce finds an Underground Sea. Look at this. Will's taking another 2 of his life. Tapping 3 for a Time Twister. Shuffle up and draw 7. So both these players finding 7 new cards. Yeah, Will plays out a Havenwood Battleground, Sackland for Fallen Empires. Passes back to his opponent. Cayce finds an Underground River and taps it for colorless, drops out an Ivory Tower, and then he's got a Zuron Orb out there. Oh, look at this, though. Also a Time Walk, so he's got multiple ways to gain life. He's going to take a bunch of damage. Looks like 5 more damage from Necropotence, restocking his hand. That's going to do a really good job of turning on. Yeah, a couple good looks at their hand. So he turned on the Ivory Tower. Well, it looks like Will just drew 6 lands, possibly 7 off of the Time Twister he played. Cayce got some decent cards there. I saw Dark Rit, a bunch of brown Moxen, or brown mana, I should say. We can see him coming out here. The Pearl, the Jet, and the Lotus. Oh, he did draw an Ancestral. That seems pretty good. Choosing to target himself, also a grand idea. Wow, and I can see 2 Force of Will sit in his hand. Drops down a Mana Vault. Pretty cool looking Altered Mana Vault. I can see, he's got to drain life in there too. Wow, chewing through another 5 cards. He is just absolutely using and abusing that Necropotence. Deciding what he wants to keep. You can see at least 2 Force of Will. Yeah, pitching looks like a Drain Life, Dark Grit, and a Portent. Pretty big turn. Cayce's down to 7. Looks like Will throws in another Havenwood Battleground. Back to Cayce's, back up to 10. Ivory Tower, doing some work for him. I mean, every turn that Ivory Tower is out there, he's going to rip, or he can rip 3 new cards for free. And he opts to take 5 more. Super aggressive on this deck. I love it. Throwing out, looks like about 3 or 4 mana sources. Definitely 1 Dark Ritual and a handful of lands. Back over to Will. Kind of hosed himself with the Time Twister. I'm pretty sure he's still got a bunch of mana sources sitting in his hand, and here they come. Oh, hard casting a Triskelion with his Eureka deck. And I mean, Cayce's down to 5. He's going to have to deal with that that Trike relatively soon. And here comes a Force of Will, hard cast.
Nope.
So Trike didn't get to stay in play. Cayce's on his turn again. He's going to pick up a couple more life from his Ivory Tower. Plays out a Demonic Tutor. It feels like he is in total control. Really, Will's just played the Time Twister and Triskelion. Cayce's off to find his favorite fucking card in the deck. Looks like he's tapping 5, 6 mana. Yeah, here comes the Mirror Universe. Might as well. So he's going to have to wait till next turn. But that's going to come really quick. I mean, at this point, might as well just burn through a bunch of life. I don't know what the right answer is. But he's got to get himself low enough that he can kill his own life total next turn. Yeah, it's going to draw 2 more cards, drop him down to 5 life. So again, full grip of cards. Back to Will. Will needs to top deck a Fireball. But first off, he needs to put a Fireball in his deck. So back over to Cayce. Deciding how he wants to stack everything up. Yeah, going ahead and swapping life totals. Cayce's up to 16 life. Will's down to 5 now. Gonna gain some life off the ivory tower. Run back up to 18 life. Wow. Playing out his one and only strip mine. Tapping 3. Dark Ritual. Oh, drain life. This is it. Yeah, drain life for 5. Possibly 6. Either way, it was lethal. That was pretty cool. Cayce just drew an absolute obscene amount of cards. And had the counterspell when you needed it. Walked right over Will, game number 1. So these two are going to swap out some cards, and we'll move on to game number 2. And here we are with game number 2. Cayce's up 1-0. Total control and dominance against Will in game number 1. He does take a mulligan. Oh shit, Will's off to a fast start. City Brass straight into Ancestral Recall. Let's see if he can pair it with anything else here. Just a pass back to his opponent. Cayce slams down a Mox Pearl in an Underground River. Tapping 1 for Portent. And choose himself. Take a look at the top 3 cards. You can either rearrange them and put them back and then draw a card, or he can shuffle and then draw a card. Yeah, here comes that extra card draw. Will's got some Mox in here. Oh, and a Bayou. Holy shit. Tapping 4, is this it? Eureka. What does he got? Oh, Triskelion. That's pretty big. Cayce answers back with a Scrubland. More Triskelion. More land. Polar Kraken. Holy shit. Necropotence. Okay, that's something to deal with. That Eureka seems like a pretty good deal.
I'll make that deal. How about you, you bitch? You make that deal?
I'd make that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
So Cayce's going to need to come up with some answers really quick, because Will can crack in for 19 next turn and then shuffle off another 6 to his face. And Cayce's already down to 19. Looks like he just has a couple cards in hand. And a bad thing about Necro, he can't really do much until the end step. He sets cards aside and picks them up essentially where his discard step is. So Will's passed. Cayce's probably thinking of what his outs are. He's ripping an obscene amount of cards. I think he took 12 cards there. I mean, at this point, I think he needs like a couple contagions. He doesn't have it. Wow. What a crackback for game number 2. Eureka fires down and show of force with some big bad creatures. So, we'll swap out a few more cards and move on to game number 3 for the finals. And here we are with game number 3. Cayce gets the play. He did take 2 mulligans here. So he will be starting with 5 cards. And I can definitely understand why he has to be so aggressive. I mean, he needs that Necropotence. Really, after that, life can be alright in a hurry. Finds an Underground Sea and passes to his opponent, Will. Oh, look at Will. Dropping out a Bayou into a Soul Ring, so he's got some immediate ramp down. Cayce finds a Mana Crypt and a City Brass and plays out an Abyss. Okay. Oh, Will says, no sir, force of will from Will.
How about no, you crazy Dutch bastard?
So the Abyss has been shut down, and wow, that would have been a really good card there. Will finds a City Brass, tapping for Eureka again. Holy shit. Oh man, I think Cayce's got 2 cards in hand. One is a Force of Will. The only problem is the other isn't also a Force of Will. Looks like he's got a Necropotence. Oh shit, here comes a Modi. There's that Necropotence we talked about. And that's it. I think they're done here. Cayce's dropping a bunch of cards aside for his Necropotence, and he's taken 3 to the face from the Mana Crypt. I think he picked up 6 or 7 cards there. Will just gets his 1, but look at this. Smashes in for 5 with the Modi. A Regrowth. Oh, is this going to be on that Force of Will? I think it has to be. Surely he wouldn't pick up a Eureka again unless he had something like a Polar Kraken in hand. Cayce's trying to decide. Yep, yeah, he says, give me that Force of Will back. I like that card. Oh, Mana Crypt damage again. Let's see if it lands or not. Nope, it misses. Mana Crypt can get so dangerous so quickly. Cayce's on 5. He needs to do something now. And there's that Force of Will again. Wow.
How about no?
And with that second Force of Will being cast, that is game. Will takes it down 2-1, so big congratulations to Cayce. Had a big day with that Necro Control deck. That deck's pretty cool to watch. Even bigger congratulations to Will for traveling up here from the Atlanta area to come kick some old school ass and take down Bootleggers Ball 2024. As always, thanks for watching The Orb.
I was not. Are you stupid? How was he doing? How was he doing that? How is he so good?
I got just your upper half and stop moving.
That's how